Yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Today, we are in for a special one. We're going to be talking about Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, contract situations, all star bids, depth, rotation, what guys need to do to move forward, to become who we think that they need to be or will be. I mean, all of it is going to be included in today's live. But before I dive into it, as always, if you could do me a favor, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Remember, it's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. So I appreciate all the love and support, how y'all show up. Continue to just be a part of this community. I appreciate that. Real talk. Um, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So we got the Chicago Bulls tonight. Um, and I'm actually gonna check the injury report just to kind of have an idea of who we're talking about is going to be in the rotation. Um, because it's going to be an interesting game. And it's going to be an interesting game because these tend to be, the definition of a trap game where you have these like really high highs facing Cleveland, facing New York, two teams at the top of the Eastern Conference, contending teams that seriously believe that they're championship contenders this year. And then you also have a team that you follow that up with who's just trying to get into the playoffs. Shoot, I think Chicago would be happy to be in the play-in, let alone the playoffs. Um, so it's two very different levels of competition. And yet Chicago is one of those teams that consistently gives us issues. And we've beaten them, but it's to say that when we take them for granted, even for a moment, they tend to jump all over the opportunity. They're within our division. They're a team that is always gets up for facing us, which they should. Us being in their division, they should be looking at us like, look, we ain't scared of y'all. We know we got to see y'all, and you know what? We trying to get our lick back from the last one. Same way we was trying to get our lick back from the first game of the season, and we did. So this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a competitive game. I fully expect that the Detroit Pistons are going to compete at a high level. Um, but a question that came to mind for me was, what does Jaden Ivey exactly have to do to get back into the starting lineup? Like, I almost wish it was a question that somebody would ask JB Bickerstaff. Like, what are you looking for before you decide to insert Jaden Ivey back into the starting lineup? And I want to say back into the starting lineup because he was starting last season, started the end of the Monty Williams season, and then last season before he got hurt. And then I have to believe that Duncan Robinson was not signed to be a starter. He was signed to come off the bench. Jaden Ivey was the de facto starting off guard, complimentary guard to Cade Cunningham. That's what they drafted him for. That's what they've invested him. Well, they're about to potentially invest in him more for. But it's to say that Jaden Ivey was supposed to be our starting off guard, not Duncan Robinson. And so the question becomes, well, when do we pull that trigger? And I'm asking not facetiously as if I'm trying to be condescending or trying to like do anything underhanded. I'm just curious. I'm just curious what is the evaluatory metric for knowing that Jaden Ivey is ready to start? Because to me, if I'm honest with you, Jaden Ivey has better defense. I think Duncan Robinson is always in the right place, and I appreciate that. But with that, he still gets targeted, which means that even if you're in the right place, that's where they want you to be. Like, cool, you closed out. Perfect. It's just what we were waiting on. For you to guard the guy that we want to be able to score on you. Andrew Wiggins, Norman Powell, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter. It didn't matter. Line them up. Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, uh, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White. It didn't matter. When teams see Duncan Robinson, when starters, let's be more specific. When starting guards or wings who are scorers, they are looking for the Duncan Robinson matchup. I don't think teams will hunt Jaden Ivey. Now, I will say this: Jaden Ivey can get caught out of position, right? He can struggle to navigate screens, on ball screens. He can struggle to make the proper rotation so that he's in position for a closeout, staying low, not bailing them out with a bad foul, like things like that, right? But his strength, his athleticism, his length are all far superior than Duncan Robinson. And so when they look at if we have to attack somebody, I don't think he becomes the one. I think maybe default. Do I want Cade or do I want Ivy? I definitely don't want a Sar. So who am I going after? Who am I intentionally trying to score against? I think it becomes more of a pick your poison versus this is our best option. Because right now with Duncan Robinson, that is team's best option. Now, this is bringing me back to the question. What does it take? What is JB Bickerstaff and his coaching staff looking for to say, now we know Jaden Ivey is ready to be placed back in the starting lineup? Is it stamina? Is it shooting? Is it defensive awareness and his positioning and a level of consistency? He needs to string some more good games together. I wish we knew what it was. Because the reality is, I can't see why he's not starting in replacement of Duncan Robinson right now. I don't exactly see Duncan Robinson having set the world on fire. He's he's not even pulling a Malik Beasley from last season, if we're honest. He's not hitting threes at that level where you're just like, God, this dude is man, we just can't take him out. We need this guy. Right now, we could take out Duncan Robinson and be just fine. Dennis Jenkins is knocking down threes. Marcus Sasser is knocking down threes. Uh, Jaden Ivey is knocking down threes. Ron Holland's not. We have a lot of options, and all those guys are going to play better defense. Yo, Ghost Keeper, what's good? Oh, Ghost Keeper just became a member. Yo, shout out to you. Got on the homie subscription. I appreciate that. Ray Floyd in the house, another member. Ain't a member of 2026. What are you waiting for? That is a great question. That is a great question, Ray Floyd. I I be thinking that myself because this is such a dope community. Why would we not want to invest in it? Why would we not want to be a part of it? I, I have a blast with y'all. I have a blast. Look, it didn't matter if I was on the West Coast, East Coast, right? I went to the gym this morning, right? I hooped. I got in 3 games, right? I was busting their ass. Folks don't know, man. I'm from San Jose, where Aaron Gordon's from. We got a jumper. We put in work. We got jumper. Folks don't know. They like he ain't gonna shoot. What? I got in my run this morning. I even had a whole therapy session. And then I come back after my therapy, take a shower. I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Cause y'all are hella dope. This is one of the funnest moments. Why wouldn't you want to be a member? That's another question. I- But I appreciate those who do become and Ghost Keeper, man, you know we've been rocking for a while. So I appreciate you taking to that next level, investing in the channel. I appreciate y'all. Real talk, real talk. The question at hand is what is JB Bickerstaff looking for in order to reinsert Jaden Ivey into the starting lineup? Now, let me get to some of these comments here. United in Grief. That's a hell of a name. United in Grief. I'm curious, what is the background for that name? I'm really curious. Wouldn't mind Cade resting today. I wouldn't mind either. I wouldn't mind it either. But every time I say that Cade should just rest and have a night off, JB Bickerstaff goes, "Yeah, you thought," and then he plays Cade, and Cade has an incredible game, and looks amazing. And then I sit there with egg on my face, like, you know what? Maybe JB Bickerstaff just knows a whole lot more than I know. I mean, I always say, like, there's many paths to success, many paths, not just one. And a head coach of a team knows his guys, like he knows them. He he's there day in, day out. He knows their families, their situations, things going on in the backdrop. We have we will never be privy to, nor do we need to be. And they will know who is what, where, why, and how they're going to get them there. So the decisions that JB Bickerstaff makes, I'm not criticizing. I'm just curious. Jaden Ivey, where he at? Why he's still coming off the bench? Now, in regards to Cade sitting, I'm looking on the injury report for today. As Cade Cunningham is listed as day-to-day, probable for Wednesday's game against the Bulls to a right wrist contusion. I day-to-day generally means they're playing. Duncan Robinson, calf, is listed as probable for Wednesday's game against the Bulls. The only difference, okay, there is a chance. I'll say there's a greater chance of Duncan Robinson sitting out because soft tissue injuries, especially around calves, right? The whole Achilles scare that's been going on, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, all of them had those calf strains. That might move the Detroit Pistons to be like, you know what? Maybe it could also be like, maybe this is the moment we get Jaden Ivey. I mean, I keep saying it, man. And Ivy is not in there. Ivy's not in there, man. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't even know why. I don't even know why. I don't even know why. If I'm honest, I have no idea. That is the question of the day. Why isn't Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup? But this might be the moment. Shoot, if Duncan Robinson is going to be out, you have to start Ivy. I mean, if you start Dennis Jenkins, I think that would be kind of a slap in the face. I get he's been playing well. I love his game. But I think you have to. With Jaden Ivey in a contract year, ironically, also, I believe Dennis Jenkins is in the contract year as well. Let me scroll up here. I like to keep my stats on deck. Yes, Dennis Jenkins. I think he's still on his two-way deal that they may convert to a full-time contract. But if I'm honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if his agent isn't doing like a little hardball thing, like looking at Dennis like, hey, bro, the way this is rolling, you could sign for the rest of this year, but we're not gonna sign for more. You know what I mean? We gonna get the veteran minimum, whatever they're gonna give you, and then we gonna bank on us because you done shown some things this season that could get you a real role. You can get you that Ty Jerome money, get you that what's his name? For the Phoenix Suns. What's his name? Who's like balling right now for them? Starting at point guard. Uh Y'all know who I'm talking about. Gillespie, something like that. Where is he at? Yeah, Colin Gillespie. 26-year-old getting 2.3 million, 2.26 or 29, right? Like he might be able to get that on like a 4-year, 3-year, 2 plus a 1 team option, right? Like he get a solid. So I think maybe they're trying to figure out Dennis Jenkins in that regard. But then if I look at see Ty Jerome, I scroll up. Ty Jerome's in Memphis, who's been hurt most of this year. See, he got paid. Where's he at? Uh, Ty Jerome got 8.7 and then 9, and then 9.6 on a player option in his 3rd year. But he's 28. Okay. I know they're supposed to be about Ivy and Duren. I'm gonna get to them. Don't even worry. We got plenty of time. We gonna get it in. We're gonna get it in. But there's a good chance Dennis Jenkins is thinking about that type of money. Because when you look at the point guard position, it's so I don't want to say it's completely depleted, but there are so many teams who need a point guard, a legitimate point guard, a guy who can knock down shots, get to the rim, facilitate, be a point of attack defender. Like, could you imagine a Minnesota Timberwolves with that type of a point guard right now? Essentially, just a younger Mike Conley. Play great defense, get the ball where it needs to be, knock down threes, straight line drives to the cup, to the rim. If you could do that consistently, that's worth $8 to $10 million at least a year. At least. But I digress. The Detroit Pistons need to figure out what Ivy's value is. Now let me pivot to this. Jalen Duren is in a very interesting situation because he's had a good run early this season. It may not be as good as we might feel it is. Now, follow me on this. Jalen Duren is at risk of not making the All-Star game. He is. How many big time explosive performances can we really think about that Duren has had? And I mean, when I say over 25 points, has he scored over 25 points in his career? Let's pull it up. Jalen Duren, at 22 years old, he's averaging 18 and 10. How many 20? I mean, I'd be curious to almost look at how many over 20-point games he's had throughout his career. I think he might have had a 30 ball this year. We're now, what is our record? With 30 some odd games in, close to 40. And we've seen one 30-point game. I'm going somewhere with this. He's had, let me see, this season, he's had 8 games scoring over 20, between 20 and 29. He's had 3 games scoring over 30. It's like game log summary for, I believe it's for this season. I'm looking on basketballreference.com. All right. Now, he's averaging 18 and 10. I'm going to round it up. Now we're going to look at the type of money that he's trying to get. He's trying to get Alperen Şengün money, Domantas Sabonis money. Let's take a look at what they're putting up. Let's start with Şengün in Houston. Şengün in Houston, when he got extended, Alperen Şengün, by comparison, is 23 years old. He was in Cade Cunningham's draft. Really great draft when we look back at it one day. It's a fantastic draft. Um, Cade, Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year, uh, Jalen Green. I think he's going to figure it out. Um, you got guys like Scotty Barnes, Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey. You got Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, and guys like Şengün, Jalen Johnson. Like, it's a hell of a draft. Hell of a draft. Alperen Şengün is currently averaging 22 and 9, if I round up accordingly. But I want to say he was averaging significantly more than that when he got re-signed. Let me see. He actually got extended after his 3rd season. Didn't have to play into the 4th season. He was averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. And then the following year, averaging 19 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists for a playoff team and became an all-star. Okay. That's actually encouraging. That's actually encouraging. Um, that's actually encouraging. So when we look at Jalen Duren today, see, actually, you know what? I actually want to look at Şengün's contract. He is getting 33.9, then 35, 37, 39, 39. Okay. The player option on the back end. So he's getting the money that Jalen Duren wants to get between 33 and 39 million. Okay. That's what Jalen Duren is banking on himself for. In year 4, Alperen Şengün made an all-star game. Jalen Duren, as I said before, is in serious threat to make the all-star game. Or I'm saying, sorry, to not make the all-star game. To not make it. There is a strong chance Jalen Duren does not make the all-star game. All these factor in when he gets into that negotiation table. All these are going to factor in. What I'm curious is, what does Jalen Duren need to do to set himself up to get into that discussion, to make sure he gets into the all-star game, to make sure that when he gets to that negotiation table, he's able to say, yo, I am worth 34 million. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of teams out there who would love to have Jalen Duren. Not a lot of teams with the money to sign him outright, nor the cap flexibility to be able to maneuver to make an offer. An offer, you have to understand how they make their offers for restricted free agency. You actually have to clear the money off your books. So that means, like, let's say a team like the Sacramento Kings, let's say DeMar DeRozan and a few other contracts are up, and what they would have to do is let those contracts go. So they can't re-sign them. They have to vacate those contracts fully to have the money available. Then they would have to, and it's got to be enough money that they believe Detroit won't match. And then they have to make the offer and wait 24 hours until Detroit decides if it wants to match. But during that time, they run the risk of the guys that they allowed to walk leave and get paid elsewhere. And then when that happens, they're in the unenviable position to be at the Pistons' mercy. If the Pistons match the offer, if they re-sign Duren, all of a sudden, they're shit out of luck. Right? This is why Jonathan Kuminga was somewhat being held captive. Because despite the talent he's shown, his showing in the playoffs last year, had a great showing against the Houston Rockets, teams were hesitant to make an offer because they're saying, well, to make an offer that we know they won't match, we have to clear up all this space, and we completely risk that we lose a bunch of valuable players in the process of trying to sign this one player. And that's something that most teams just won't do. And so restricted free agency is essentially just that, a restriction, a limiting of the player's agency to go out and get maximum value for their abilities. So for Jalen Duren, I believe that there are levels he needs to get to or to sustain to make sure that he gets his maximal value from the Detroit Pistons. Because the likelihood of another team making an offer, slim to none. it's really slim. It would have to be a team that's desperate, but also a team that has contracts they don't mind allowing to walk, and that's not going to be a lot of teams. Speaking of what it's not going to be a lot of, I got 34 people in the chat, only 12 likes. Remember, smash the like button for me. It is a little thing for you, just a little tap, but it's a big thing for the channel. I really appreciate all the love and support. Please, if you could do me the favor, do me the one time and smash that like button. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And it's 2026. Become a member. This community is dope. Great conversations in the chat. I try to respond to as much as I can, especially if you're a member or if you send a super chat. I got you. I'm looking for you. All right. I even got a little side computer to be able to see what I don't see on this device here, so I can be able to make sure that I see your comments and your question. Now, here's the thing. Jalen Duren is a lot closer to hitting his goal. Getting paid, I think it's a great investment, even if you have to go up to like 38, 40 million. I think it's a great investment for the Detroit Pistons because I think he only gets better. I think Duren only gets better, and he's showing you so many flashes of his abilities that it's hard not to perceive just how much better he's going to get. Imagine when he's taking that jump shot liberally, just top of the key, 18 feet out, and he's just knocking it down. Turnaround jumpers, and getting to the free throw line still, finishing inside, pick and roll, pick and pop, right? Really good free throw shooter for a center. It's just a great investment. I think very easily he could become a more offensively skilled Alonzo Mourning, but less defense. More defensively responsible Karl Malone, but less offense. He's got that rare, uncanny combination of power, strength, and skill and touch. So I think Jalen Duren is going to likely get the money that he's looking for. Alperen Sengun is a great baseline for their negotiations, but also staying healthy has to be a major part of it. Which means tie your shoes, boy. Tie your shoes. Because when you rolled your ankle, boy, I was looking at your shoes, man, and your foot was just like shifting right over. I'm just like, bro, don't just tie them like tie them tight, bro. Tie them tight. You act like you haven't had ankle issues before, and now you're out for a while. But I digress. Jaden Ivey. I asked the first question. What is JB Bickerstaff looking for to put him back in the starting lineup? I don't know. I wish I knew. I don't know. All the times and the ways and the reasons I've ever said, man, this is why he needs to be in the starting lineup. And JB Bickerstaff is like, psych, nope. And I'm like, shit, can't call it. I don't know what to tell you. That's just been the reality. Uh, and so I'm left questioning. I'm left questioning. And then we have his contract situation. I think he's significantly further away from his goal. It doesn't take much. I've said it from the beginning. He only needs to string together maybe 1 to 2 months of high level play as a starter. If he has a strong February, March, April, averaging over 20 points per game, that's going to be their guy. And they're going to pay him. He's going to get his 30. He's going to get his at least 27, 30. He's going to get paid. V has 2 months of averaging 22, 4, and 4, right? Which is essentially, I think, where he gets to when he gets put in the starting lineup. Now, when will he get there? That's the $1,000,000 question. Because if I'm honest with you, when I watch Jaden Ivey, I'm seeing a young man, a young player who has just so much game. So much game. And when I say game, I'm talking like, bro, he could just do so many things at an elite level. Things that you'd be hard pressed to find someone else able to do. Hard pressed. Like someone who has the physicality, the explosiveness, the handle, the skill, the feel to get 2 feet in the paint at will, to be able to shoot from well beyond the 3 point line, to have the physical body. He's almost built like a 6'5" Lou Dort. Lou Dort's like 6'2", 6'3". Maybe 6'3", 6'4". Maybe. Maybe. But as I say, Ivy is strong. You're not just gonna run through him. You're not just gonna move him aside. His effort, his motor, along with that athleticism and skill, is a rare combination. He's got game. He's got game. I mean, it's not as crisp as a Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser is 2, 3 years older. But it's to say that he's got one of those games where you're just like, oh, this dude could get me 30 at any point, any given day. He knocks down 1, 2 in a row. He's probably gonna get you 10 plus points in that quarter, 15. And there's not a lot of guys who could do that. There's not a lot of guys who are built like that. Like, let's be real. There's not a lot of guys in the NBA who are built to be volume scorers. That means you don't mind putting up 3 to 4 shots every single quarter within the flow of the offense, getting out in transition, getting to the free throw line. You are consistently putting pressure on the defense to be able to score. There's very few guys who have that ability. Jaden Ivey does. He does. I would say in spades at a high level. That's what he does. He scores. Because some of these other questions and comments here. Rafe, here we go. Playing Duncan for a while now. What up, though? See, Brian Smiles. Are they starting Duncan for trade value? That is a great question. I think so. I think that's a major point of part of why there's been a delay in starting Ivy. I think it's apparent, it's clear Ivy is more likely the future. Duncan Robinson is 31 years old, partially guaranteed deal. That's actually a descending deal. So he's getting 16.8 this year. He'll get 15.9 next year, 15.1 the year after. Neither of those next 2 years are guaranteed. That is great value for a lot of other teams. When I think about the rotations, this is what's very interesting. And it really just speaks to the depth on this team. Um, the work that Troy Weaver and Trajan Langdon have done to continue to build this team up has been incredible. I can't knock it. We have so much talent. And so much talent to where when one of those main guys sits out, we don't skip a beat, which to a degree might diminish some of their value as well. We don't necessarily need them like that. There are some teams that they have a guy that they have to resign because they're just like, we have no one else who can do what they do. The Pistons have other guys who can do what Ivy and Duren can do. They have guys that can do wrinkles of it, enough of it. Sometimes more efficiently, more effectively, with more veteran savvy. Guys like Dennis Jenkins, guys like B-Ball Paul, who come in the game, Isaiah Stewart, who's in the game alongside of him, who can do a lot of the things that Duren does. Not all of it. Neither has the verticality. Neither necessarily has that power to just move people. Or I would say even the scoring acumen. But we can still win. And so it's a very interesting dynamic in Detroit because sometimes guys can get very guarded, protective of their opportunities, which I think is comes with being a veteran. You know, you're feeding your family, your whole family from your check. And you know that you're gonna have to depend upon what you're getting paid now for the rest of your life. Because you're gonna get, somewhere between 32 and 36, and you're not gonna be in the NBA no more. And you're gonna have to figure out, what do I do next? Because I ain't getting these checks for the same amount that I used to. What do I do next? And now you're 35 and you got to figure out the next 65 years of life without getting that check. Hopefully you invested well in all these different things. Yeah, they're going to have to ask themselves, who am I? So these are things that we have to consider, but I think it's a beautiful thing that Duren and Ivy are still bought into playing as a team. I think it's still beautiful that they still seem connected, even though at times, I'm not gonna say it seems like Jaden Ivey is sulking, but I can see at times everyone standing up and celebrating, and he's sitting down. And I don't know if he's in his head. I don't know if he's processing. Look, it's a long season. It's a long season, and there could be all sorts of reasons why someone might be, you know, sitting down when everyone's standing up and cheering. But I'm sure a part of this he's sitting with. He got a bunch of kids, living the dream, right? Makes it NBA, got your wifey, go have you a bunch of kids. That's the dopest thing in the world. Kids are great. I love them. Love my kid. Want more. But he's also thinking like, they're dependent on me. I got injured. I got to make this comeback. He's got pressure. He's got pressure. And he's got a guy who took his spot because of the injury and doesn't seem to want to give it back. The coaching staff, the front office, remember the front office and the coaching staff work like this. So whenever we see decisions that JB Bickerstaff is making, best believe it's also ran through Trajan Langdon. So it's not just JB. It's not only JB in a vacuum going, yes, we're gonna start him. No, we're not. It's usually conversations back and forth. So these are all things that we have to kind of consider as we navigate this situation between Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. What's taking place in the functionality of the Detroit Pistons, their rotations, their expectations, their roles, and their potential opportunities within it. Jalen Duren is out, rolled his ankle. I mean, he's young. Jalen Duren is 22 years old. Um, when I was 22 years old, I wasn't lacing up my shoes all the way. I didn't care, right? You roll your ankle, you just tie that thing up tight and keep playing. I'm 41 years old, y'all. I'll roll my ankle. I'm gonna see y'all next month. That's that's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna see y'all next month if I roll my ankle. Best believe I got the ankle brace on, and it's laced up tight, and I'm stretched out, and I'm warmed up, and I'm loose, and I prepared. I've gone through all the things to make sure that I can play and not get hurt. But Jalen Duren's 22. Jalen Duren is now out once again for the Detroit Pistons. And B-Ball Paul is balling. Look, I love B-Ball Paul. B-Ball Paul, man, his insertion into the starting lineup has been everything. Everything we could have wanted, dreamt of. Hell yeah. B-Ball Paul. He just does the right things over and over and over so well. And it's the little things. Moving off the ball, cutting behind the help defender, following the offensive glass, You know, there is something special about a guy who doesn't take anything away from your team. And when he shows up, he's constantly providing exactly what your team needs. B-ball Paul doesn't look to do nothing but contribute to winning. I think he learned that because I think there was a lot of conversation when he was in Philadelphia under Doc Rivers next to Joel Embiid. And the coaching staff with Doc Rivers, I remember there was a conversation where they were saying they talked to Paul Reed and they were like, "Look, we've got Ben Simmons, we got James Harden at the time. We got guys. We're gonna do a lot of scoring. And I know at DePaul University you were scoring, doing all this other stuff. You were the guy. But you got to figure out how to fit on this team." And they sat him in the G League for a while. And he had to change his game to becoming this hustle, energy, high motor, big man, center, power forward. And he's had to evolve. He understands how to fit, how to play off of guys, how to be in the right position so that when they needed him, he's right there available. B-ball Paul, I would have no problems being a long-term starter. Now, hear me out on this. If Duren comes back and they all of a sudden say, the front office, JB Bickerstaff says, I think it would be better for us to start Paul Reed rather than Isaiah Stewart. What if Paul Reed becomes our forward of the future, the Tobias Harris replacement? That's just a thought. I still think it's probably going to be Isaiah Stewart, but it's a thought because of just how well he's playing. Not just the defensive rebounding, but the offensive rebounding, the passes, the block shots, the finishing around the rim, getting deflections, loose balls, chasing down rebounds outside of his area. That's something that when you are a role player, you have to master as a big man. How to get those rebounds, the rebounds you weren't supposed to be able to get, that gain extra possessions, where the fans love you for the hustle, right? Almost like the gladiator. Are you not entertained? Did you just not see me fight for this loose ball and come up with it amongst 3, 4, 5 other players? Right? Those are the plays that gets you re-signed. And he's had to fight. Because keep in mind, he did all that in Philly. The crowd loved him. The coaching staff loved him. He didn't get re-signed there. He's now in Detroit. Remember, he got signed last season for a 1-year deal. And then they did this whole thing where they like cut him, then re-signed him, and now he's getting $5.3 million this year. And a non-guaranteed 5.6 for next year. I'm gonna tell you right now, if Paul Reed starts knocking down regular threes, like he gives me 1 or 2 a game come March, April. He's just, this is my corner 3, yak him. Like Ron Holland is. If he starts doing that, I'm no longer searching for a Tobias Harris replacement. I can just stop. We're good. We got B-ball Paul. So when I look at Duren in his situation, yes, he's putting up stats, but the team also doesn't need him in the way that we might think, in the way that Sacramento needed Domantas Sabonis or Houston needs Alperen Sengun, even though they're still winning without him, which is kind of an interesting situation, starting Steven Adams, Jabari Smith Jr., Kevin Durant. They haven't really missed a beat. All this to say is, when you look at the contract situation, I think Jalen Duren needs this all-star game. I think he needs to get into the All-Star game. He gets to the All-Star game, he can walk in the room saying, I want Alperen Şengün money. And I think he's going to get it. 33, 34 million starting off, probably ending somewhere around low 40s. Player option, team option on the back end. Probably a player option. If he doesn't make that All-Star game, I think we're seeing high 20s. Because when you're a restricted free agent, you are restricted. That is to give your team the advantage to re-sign you. I know they frame it like, oh, to be able to keep a team together and, it's good that the team look, you're basically getting shammed, basically getting had. They say it's for a competitive advantage and for the fans. It's not for the fans. It's for badly ran organizations. And I've said this many times. There should not be a draft. Let me just be clear. There should be no draft. Bring it in close. There should be no NBA draft. It's too much like this might be a hell of an example, but like an auction. Like human beings being auctioned. How fast can he run? How high can he jump? How much does he weigh? How strong? How many bench presses, right? Okay, let's evaluate him. Let's look at his teeth. Make sure he's healthy. Right. Check his doctor's reports. And then I get to draft him. I get to draft another human being. I get to tell another human being, you have to work for me. You may not have ever wanted to come to my state, right? Donovan Mitchell didn't want to go to Utah. Zion never wanted to go to New Orleans, right? But I get to draft you, and you have to come to where I am. And then when you do, now you are responsible for carrying the dilemma of my franchise. You never signed up for it, and you got to be happy about it. That's kind of crazy to me. It's kind of wild. All this to say is, Duren right now is in an unenviable position as a player where he has to prove himself. And even when he does, he may not be able to capitalize off of it because of the context in which he's playing out this season. The team is winning without him, and he's on the verge potentially of not making the All-Star game. And that's a big hit. That is a big hit if he does not make this All-Star game. I think he can. Number one team in the East. You usually get at least two guys, sometimes three, but you'll get at least two guys in the All-Star game. And the second guy for the Detroit Pistons would be Jalen Duren. But he's got to produce. And he's got to get back soon enough so that he can play the requisite number of games. Can somebody tell me how many games does Jalen Duren? I know he's missed a few games already. How many more games does he need to play between now and the evaluation to get him on the ballot? Because I know if you miss too many games early on, you don't even have a chance to get on the ballot. And now he's out again. So these are things to consider. We're looking at the rotation. We're looking at these contract situations, potential all-star berths. Jaden Ivey, I think he's going to have to make up a lot of ground on the back end of the season. If he's still on the roster past the trade deadline, he is going to have to make up a lot of ground. Like I said before, he needs about 2 months or a month and a half plus a really strong playoff showing. I think no matter what, he needs to have a strong playoff showing. He needs to show that his talent translates and that it's something that you can't just find out there. Keep in mind, Jalen Green, I don't even know what the update on Jalen Green is. He's just been gone pretty much the whole season in Phoenix. And Phoenix is balling without him right now. Jalen Green. News. All right. So he's still out. Let me see. What is this injury? Does somebody know what Jalen Green's injury is? Okay, so he's been working out pregame. So he looks like he's getting ready to return. Does he get put back in the starting lineup? I'm curious. Because Jalen Green, to me, could be a strong Jaden Ivey alternative. I know that he gets paid more. I know that significantly more. Let me look at his actual contract. We're looking at 33, 36, 36 over the next 3 years. These are things to really consider. This is the landscape of the league. You got a young 23-year-old who was supposed to be a superstar, who's supposed to be a star, who's almost pretty much lost his starting spot. I don't think he supplants Colin Gillespie. He would be an option. He would be an option. You got guys like Malik Monk in Sacramento. He would be an option. Period. He'd be a strong option. Malik Monk is making 18 million, 20 and 21 over the next 3 years. Shoot, you got 25-year-old Keon Ellis. I don't know why the Sacramento Kings are not playing him. He's making 2.3 million. There's so much talent. Not to mention my guy, who I've been talking about, Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes. I big fan of Quentin Grimes. Out of Kansas, then went to Houston. Uh, 6'5", shooter, scorer, high IQ, great motor, tough, physical. I think he would come back. This is a completely different team than the one he left. Tobias Harris came back, right? Like these are things to really consider. And Quentin Grimes getting 8.7 million at 25 years old, averaging 15, 4 and 4, coming off the bench. And he's only getting about, whoa, he's getting 32 minutes a game, practically starting. Practically starting. He's proven. Older, probably more mature. He doesn't pick up the bad fouls. He doesn't make the silly mistakes. He doesn't forget rotations. I would say he's far more of a high IQ player, um, far more mature player that we know Cade needs around him. I'm really curious how all of this plays out. That's why that was the inspiration for this live. Curious how this all plays out. And if we don't have a clear understanding, depiction of what JB Bickerstaff's plan is to reinsert Jaden Ivey into the starting lineup, it's not exactly boding well for Jaden Ivey's ascension that he essentially needs to get the money that he's betting on himself to get. We see Global Picture Studios says Ivy is fine. He just needs to work himself back into good health. I think he's already in good health. Maybe it's a stamina thing, but I don't even think it's a stamina thing. Look, he's been playing for over a month. Playing for over a month. He came back in November. Let me pull him up real quick. See how many games that he's played already. Somebody, tell me what is our record again? I think somebody put it in there for me earlier. Earlier. Okay, we're 27-9. We're 27-9. 36 games in. Jaden Ivey has played see. Let me see. Pull it up here. Detroit. I like to keep my stats on deck. You know what I mean? I like to pull it up myself. Jaden Ivey's 23 years old. Getting paid 10 million this year. He has played 21 games out of our 36. Tell me 21 games not enough to work yourself back into conditioning and shape? Are you telling me that that's not enough to be full throttle, ready to go? I don't think he's hurt. I don't think he's hurt at all. I think they just have him on a track and they're really taking their time to say, is he really who we think he is? Is he really worth restructuring this thing around? If you put him in the starting lineup, you have to a large degree, restructure how you're doing things in that starting lineup. Yes, we love Asar as the point forward, but now all of a sudden, Ivy needs to run some point too. And that means Cade is not running point even more. Now, I'm not mad at that. I think that could work towards Cade's benefit. And I know that Ivy could play off the ball really well, even though he stands around a little bit. He could be a little bit standing. I think he needs to start doing things like calling for off ball screens, getting himself involved, coming to the ball hard. Um, yeah, taking advantage of every opportunity to get defensive rebounds and start the break. He needs to involve himself more, essentially. But I think that Ivy is going to get there, but they have to put him in position. They're controlling his minutes. He's having good games and still having limited minutes. He's showing he's going to defend. He's showing he can knock down threes. He's showing he can get paint touches. He's showing that he can be in the right position, be a factor in maintaining our offensive flow and generating quality offensive possessions. He can even be clutch, right? The last game, he hit some buckets that were just like so on time. When is he ready? What is JB Bickerstaff waiting for? That is the major question. I wish somebody could tell me. I'll say what people are thinking, Ross. The Pistons are slow playing Ivy, so they don't have to pay that money if he's getting the production and minutes. Maybe Rashad Walker. Maybe. Somebody's got to say it. Yeah. The thing is, you also want to keep his trade value up too. It is a really interesting scenario. It is a really interesting scenario because I just can't see why Duncan Robinson is starting in front of him. I just can't. I just can't. Duren and Ivy are drafted in the same year. Excellent pickups by Troy Weaver. Let me see. What'd you say? Global Picture Studios. Those are the signs that he may still be hurt. No, he's not hurt. He's not hurt. The Detroit Pistons would not play him if he's hurt. It does not help them either way, right? And it would not help Ivy to play hurt. It helps nobody for him to play hurt. They have too much depth. They don't need him to play hurt. Right? This isn't one of those situations where it's like, we just need to roll you out there because we need a guy who can. They got guys. Like I'm still fiending for that Marcus Sasser, Dennis Jenkins backcourt of the future. Come in and just go to work. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all the way through. If Jaden Ivey was hurt in the least bit, set him down. Give us more Dennis. Give us more Marcus. Marcus had back-to-back almost 20-point games. And the only reason why he's now further on the depth chart is because Dennis Jenkins had a big game. Eventually, we're gonna get Karis LeVert back. We still got Chaz Lanier. You're right, Ibrahim. Breaking your leg is a traumatic injury, and it's also an injury that most guys fully come back from. His time off was the amount of time he was supposed to have off. He didn't come back early. It wasn't like oh, he's pushing. That was the amount of time. I think he's still mentally adjusting because usually it takes guys after they have an ACL, Achilles, if they're young enough, it's going to be a full season playing through and getting back to the off season before they physically get back to feeling like themselves again. Being explosive, getting to the rim, jumping off that leg how they used to. It's something that is just across the board. Guys are going to take more time, but it doesn't mean that they're still hurt at all. So I wouldn't throw that out there at all. I don't think Ivy is hurt. I don't think he's injured. It would be absolutely foolish for Jaden Ivey's agent, anyone around him, to allow him to play hurt. Because just imagine if he gets a bad doctor report and they go, "Oh, you re-aggravated this. Now we got to go back in for surgery." Be devastating. Be devastating to his career. Everything he did. There's absolutely no reason. Absolutely no reason. Let me get to some of these other comments. Uh, yeah, mega pro professional. Jaden Ivey isn't hurt anymore. If anything, he's starting to show more flashes of him getting better in the flow and acclimated. I think that's very true too. Um, let me see. Rashad Walker. The last game was his best game in production in minutes. I believe so too. He's had a couple of other really good games, but this was probably one of his strongest games. Um, let me see. Mega professional says, if anything, it's more mental than physical for Ivy. I believe so too. Juan Harris, he's healed from the broken leg, but you can still see him favor the knee. Ooh, that is a good point. He may not be mentally, mentally uh, recovered from the knee. Shoot, or the leg. I see him on fast breaks. That ain't the old Ivy, but it's a mental thing. But I tell you right now, next season, you're going to see that full fledged athleticism. You let him get into this offseason healthy, good to go. All of a sudden, you're going to see this dude take off. I guarantee it. I guarantee Ivy is a 22 5-5 player. He's Zach Levine. He's Jalen Green. Um, I can't think of other guys, but he's your uber athletic, highly skilled, confident, volume scoring guard. That's who he is. That's who he is in his nature. 22 5-5, walking. The question is he the 22 5-5 that the Detroit Pistons need? Is he that? And that is a really significant question because this team is in desperate need of, what do I always say? Maturity. That is the real bar for this team. Growing in maturity. Because they're in a championship window now. I will say this, and this is what I said earlier. Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey both need to have a strong playoff showing. This is likely going to be a deep run this year. It's likely going to be a deep run this year. I'm not scared of anybody in these playoffs. There's not one team that I go, well, watch out for them. Nope. We can beat Boston. We can beat Miami. And those are the teams that are best suited to compete with us. Their continuity, the chemistry, bought into their schemes and their system, their culture. They're going to push us. They're going to play hard. They're going to execute. They can shoot the ball. They got a lot of scores. But I also think this is why we need Jaden Ivey in that starting lineup because those teams get off by hunting Duncan Robinson. That's literally their scheme. The Miami Heat, they don't do a bunch of pick and roll anymore. What they do is they hunt mismatches and they do penetrating kicks, similar to the Boston Celtics. They hunt mismatches and they do penetrating kick. They look to collapse the defense and kick it out to a wide open shooter. Both teams execute that system and they try to get out in transition and make sure that they don't turn the ball over. That's their systems and it works against us. Also because of their culture and continuity and everything else and really good coaching. So, Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, this season is really interesting because it's almost at that midway point. Almost at actually, you know what was the record again? Was it 27? Yeah, 27 and 9. 27 and 9. Okay. So, let's see, pull it up here. I like to have all my stats ready to go. Ready to go. Games. Oh, sorry, not games. Standings. Let's go here. Let me see. 27 to 9, 3.5 games up on the Celtics, 4 games up on the Knicks. More than likely, we're looking at somewhere between hmm, anyone from Philly, Toronto to Atlanta, Milwaukee as a first round matchup. We're not going to be in the play in. We're in a strong position to be able to make sure that we can miss the play in. That means get plenty of rest. And a rested Cade, Asar, Duran should be scary for the league. What I'm truly looking forward to is Jaden Ivey's defense in the starting lineup more than anything. More than anything. Team's ability to hunt Duncan Robinson allows them to get out from under our suffocating defense. We see it time and time again when we have Ron Holland and Asar Thompson in the lineup together, along with Cade or Dennis Jenkins or I don't know, Javante Green, uh, Paul Reed. We are absolutely suffocating. It is curtains for the other team's offense. It is hell. It is let's just survive this until Duncan Robinson gets back in the game, or at least Cade, right? But you know what? Ivy quietly is climbing that defensive ladder. He's slowly but surely, like if Javante Green is at a 8, Ivy used to be at a 4, and he's climbing it. I think right now he's like at a 5.9, 6.2. Duncan Robinson is probably about a 5.5. That's kind of my metric, if I'm honest with you. Speaking of honest, 43 people in the chat, only 30 likes. Do me a favor, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Remember, hitting the like button is a small thing for you. Like it's like really small, just a little tap tap. But it's a big thing for the channel. And the algorithm and all this other stuff. And consider 2026 becoming a member of this community, this channel. I got really dope people in the chat. You come through every time. It is a dope timeout coming through to this community. So please consider becoming a member and hit the like button. Now, let me just leave it with this. I think we are a scary team. When we have Ivy in the starting lineup, and I just want to be straight up about it. I am calling it out now. We are strongest with Jaden Ivey in the starting lineup. That is when we are strongest. His speed, athleticism, explosiveness, ability to collapse the defense, create for himself and others, his ability to uh, shot make. He's probably one of the better shot makers on this team, meaning that he can create his own shot, but he can also hit really tough contested shots. He's not really phased by the crunch time, by the pressure. He's going to take it, he's going to hit big shots. When we have him next to Cade, that gives us this 1-2 punch offensively that I think is just going to beat the hell out of teams. Because just when you think you're slowing down Cade, just when it seems like Cade is slowing down, all of a sudden you look over and you got Jaden Ivey and he just scored 9 points in a row. You think you're in the game, and all of a sudden Ivey gets a three, a dunk, a breakaway, steal, dunk, gets to the free throw line, and you're like, who the hell is this? Who is this guy? Right? It almost like breaks your back as a team because you spend so much energy focusing on Cade Cunningham. That's what Ivy does for us. He takes that pressure off of Cade. Cade can now go, Ivy, you got it. And that's why I want him in that starting lineup so they can begin to develop that chemistry, that continuity between them, going off and on. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it going. Bet I'm going to play off of you just like this. I'm going to cut off ball. I'm going to be looking for this. Set you a little drag screen, right? To make sure that if the defender that they're trying to hide for the other team is on me, I'm going to bring him to you because you got it going, Cade. Or Cade, vice versa. I'm going to bring him to you, Ivy. Right? Like we start working in tandem, getting that chemistry. Because if we can get that chemistry by the playoffs, GZ Entertainments, yo, what is good, my boy? It's good to see you. One of the day ones. Rashad Walker. Ron has no fear of shooting. He actually hunts for shots when he's open. Asar, on the other hand, has to get to the point of being comfortable to shoot. Very true. Very true. Tara G says when Asar and Ron improve their shooting, Pistons will be lethal. That is 100% the case. 100% the case. And really, I don't even need Asar as a shooter. I just need Asar as a confident, offensively aggressive player. And he's growing in that confidence. JB Bickerstaff is empowering him. Shout out to the coach of the year, JB Bickerstaff. I'm claiming it now. Claiming it. Naming it. Claiming it. Naming it and claiming it. JB Bickerstaff, coach of the year. How he's pressing the right buttons, putting guys in position. He has the trust of his team to say, we need more of this guy. And he's playing well. I'm going to give you opportunities. Stay ready, B-ball Paul. Don't worry. Opportunities coming your way. You know what, Marcus? Let's see what you got. You had a good game. You're in the next game, right? These guys are coming together, and it is not an easy task to keep guys ready. It is not an easy task to empower players to play at this level. What is happening right now is unprecedented. It's unprecedented. This many injuries and uh, this many adjustments to expectations for the team, for the role players, for the bench, right? Like we came in thinking Cade, Ivy Asar, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, Stu, Ron Holland, Karis LeVert, Duncan Robinson, maybe Marcus Sasser, right? That was the rotation. That was the expectation coming into training camp. Marcus Sasser looked great. We weren't really thinking about B-ball Paul. We love him. We're not considering him to be a part of an active rotation, let alone a starter. And Dennis Jenkins, they loved him. Was not in consideration for an active part of the rotation. Now, B-ball Paul and Dennis Jenkins are both playing so well. We're literally having to reevaluate who is going to fit where. Duncan Robinson wasn't not supposed to be starting, but now he's a starter. And Jaden Ivey is now coming off the bench who's trying to get his way back into the starting lineup. Tobias Harris eventually is going to come back. But do we really replace B-Ball Paul or Isaiah Stewart with Tobias Harris? I don't know. I don't know. And I want to be frank about that because of the fact that we are at our best when we are a defensive team. We're at our best when we are defensively focused. So if we are at our best when we're defensively focused and making plays on the boards, kickouts, um, hitting the offensive glass, getting deflections and blocks, getting out in transition, Tobias Harris doesn't necessarily help us out a lot with that. If I'm honest with you. If I'm honest with you. He helps us out more in terms of shot creation, shot making, hitting that corner three, maybe a pressure relief for needing to score a bucket. But if I'm honest, I think I would rather have him coming off the bench. I'd rather have Tobias Harris coming off the bench next to B-Ball Paul or Isaiah Stewart. And you got Marcus Sasser and Dennis Jenkins. Because I think everybody knows by now, I am pro Dennis Jenkins and Marcus Sasser over Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. I think everybody knows that by now. I want Jaden Ivey in that starting lineup. Let's go Duren, Stewart, Asar, Ivy, and Cade. And then go B-Ball Paul, Tobias Harris, Ron Holland at the three, Marcus Sasser, Dennis Jenkins. I think that is our best lineups. That is our best 10. And then Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert as 11, 12. And maybe Tolu Smith, 13, right? Chaz Anier, 14, right? That is what I am 100% believing should be our rotation. Vlad TV, I completely agree. Duncan is not a starter. He needs to come off the bench. Devro87. Yo, what's good, Devro? It's good to see you. JB is a do what you're good at instead of a get good at what I want you to do type of coach. And that's why he's successful with this team. That is an interesting observation. Do what you're good at instead of get good at what I want you to do. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think he's both. I think he's both. I say that because he's gotten a lot of buy-in from veterans to play a brand of defense that they are not known for making, that they are not known for playing. Let's be 100% clear. Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert are not known for playing defense. And they're locked in. Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. were never known for playing consistent defense, being high-level defenders. And they were locked in. He gets guys to buy in defensively. But I think maybe what you're speaking more towards, Devereaux, is offensively. Do what you're good at. Instead of me trying to make you do what I want you to do for my system's sake. And that's a luxury that JB Bickerstaff has because he's been lock in step with Trajan Langdon for a long time. So Trajan Langdon is bringing in guys who fit his system. 24K Mine says LeVert is solid on D. He is solid. He is solid on defense. I'm not going to take that away from him. Oh, shit. Yo, thank you, Tara. I'm here talking about rotations. And I forgot one of my favorite players on this team, Javonte Green. Javonte motherfucking Green. That boy Green. That boy good. That boy making a play. That boy getting the block. That boy dunking on somebody's head. That boy Javonte Green. Man, I'm tripping, bro. I'm tripping. Javonte Green. Shit, that, bro. And crazy enough, Javonte Green is probably number 8 on our depth chart. Javonte Green might be number 7 on the depth chart. This team has so many good players. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes, Javonte Green has to stay in the rotation. 100%. I'm sorry. I, I love Marcus Sasser. I love Dennis Jenkins. I even love Ron Ron. Ron is probably one of the few dudes I'd be like, all right, Javonte, you have to make some room for Ron Ron. But who would you rather have on the court, Tobias Harris or Javonte Green? That's a real question. Who would you rather have on the court, Tobias Harris or Javonte Green? That's the reality of the situation. JB Bickerstaff figuring that out is just one hell of a coaching job. Because remember, Javonte Green is in a contract situation. I want to pull it up here. Javonte Green. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I like my stats on deck. I keep telling you, I like my stats on deck. So I got all my devices out here. Javonte Green is making 2.3 million, 2.296. Unrestricted free agent after this year. Javonte is hooping for his career. The way he's playing right now, he is going to get probably one of the biggest contracts of his career, even if it's just 5 point something million a year for the next 2 plus 1. That's likely what he's looking at. 5 to 8 million, making 2 plus 1. Right? At 32 years old, that's what he's looking at. That's what he's looking at. So, watching this team right now, golly, I think we got to get our rotation right. We've got to get our rotation right because if I'm honest with you, I would rather let Duncan Robinson walk and keep Javonte Green. I would trade away Karis LeVert, making 14 million next year, 14.8. I might actually take uh Karis and Duncan, 14.8, 15.9. Oh, sorry, this season, 14 and 16.8, plus Tobias Harris. Take those contracts, group them together, go out and get somebody's mad expensive veteran, right? Who maybe they only have a 1 year left or something like that. And see if we can get some draft picks and save that money to re-sign Javonte Green, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, and bring back the dog pound. 100%. We got to keep this dog pound together because that is our greatest strength. That is why we are contenders. That's why we're the number 1 seed. That's why there's a good chance we get into the NBA Finals this year. And it's not because other players are bad. It's just because we have such a strong identity and culture and continuity in playing together. They are locked in, synced in, playing with one another. Javonte, Ron, Asar, Cade, Ivy, B-Ball Paul, Stu. Man, when that group, Dennis, I'd add him to that, Marcus, when those guys are together, the level of defensive, it just skyrockets. Skyrockets. That's who I want to ride into the finals with. That's who I want to ride into the finals with. However, we got to do it. We got to trade the guys to get off the books. If we got to move guys around, we have opportunities. I love Tobias. I love Uncle T. Right? If we bring him back, he's probably gonna get like 8 to 10 million. For the next couple of years, something like that. Promise him a front office position. He could be our Grant Hill type of situation. Be a front office guy afterwards. Maybe, that's what he's looking for the second part of his, career, and that's things to consider, because Tobias is what, 33 years old, another couple years, 35, 36. Maybe that's the deal. We'll give you a 2 plus 1, 8 to 10 million, 12 at the most, descending, maybe 12 next year, 10, 8, team option on the back end, right? Continue to be the veteran in the locker room, continue to be maturity, lead. I love it. But right now, I want the dog pound, night in, night out, because that's when we take control of the game. That's when we give teams help. That's when we assert ourselves as the dominant force in this league with the dog pound. Period. Period. But as always, yo, it's your man 100 grand Ross with the Rock Never Stops. I hope you had a great time in this live. I enjoyed myself immensely. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Remember, it's a small thing for you, but a big thing for the channel. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And definitely, if you can, consider being a member in 2026, right? This is a dope community. Appreciate all of y'all. I always like to leave y'all with a word of the day. Word of the day. Um, Stuff that I talk about often. Uh, but not all conflicts are bad. Like sometimes we always see conflict and it's a stressor for us. And many times we cast stress as a negative. Like we shouldn't have stress. But the reality is your body doesn't grow without stress. Your bones don't get stronger without stress. Your muscles don't grow without stress. Right? So when we begin to think about conflict in our lives, sometimes there's an opportunity to be able to reframe it and see or look for, where am I being called into growth? Where am I being called into expanding or becoming stronger? Right? And that simple reframe alone can change an entire situation in your life. Entire situation. Sometimes there's areas of our lives that, the universe just sees that you just need to grow. And it just keeps coming back around and around and around because it's supposed to, because it's a part of you. So it should be showing back up. And you should be looking at it again and saying, am I doing this right? And then over time, learning with each rotation season of life and being like, okay, you know what? I've learned a few times. Let me now take this opportunity, this moment of conflict, to do it different. And that is a major part of what life is about. And so, encourage all y'all, go out today, have an amazing day. Remember, live this life to the fullest. You only get one, and there's no life better than yours. Remember, because everyone else's life is already taken. Live your life to the fullest, love deeply, laugh hard as hell, and have an amazing day. And I'm see y'all next time. We got the Bulls tonight. If I don't go live tonight after the game, definitely tomorrow morning. That is the plan. I'll holler at y'all. Remember, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time ish, because I be on that CP time. I'm gonna get at y'all next time. Peace.